Meditation is not something you do in order to gain anything. It's actually quite the opposite. A meditation practice is the action of releasing and unveiling everything that is standing in the way of living your true, authentic, whole beingness. This is precisely why I no longer recommend meditation techniques or methods anymore. And I'm not implying that these things are not helpful. They are. But if you think that meditation is a way to achieve or acquire something you don't already possess, then you're missing the point. Let us go a step beyond meditation, as most people regard it. Now imagine that you are wearing a blindfold and you can't see the sunlight. The solution to correcting this is simple. Take off the damn blindfold. Similarly, ignorance and delusion and the pursuit of false values can all be easily undone merely by uncovering your spiritual eyes. Ask yourself, why am I unhappy? Why do I struggle so much to be successful? Why are my relationships so disappointing and painful? Why do I keep repeating the same patterns over and over? Whenever you sit down and become still and silent long enough, what you eventually discover is that the pursuit of grasping for something in the world that you perceive as lacking is really the cause of your problems. Understand that this world exists as an endless rotating wheel of cause and effect. Each link upon this chain is dependent upon the volitional activity that precedes it. One cause leads to an effect, then another and another. It is an unbroken cyclical progression that happens throughout our lives within the confines of conditional existence. It is based on desire and the habit that we learn to grasp for what we want. This is why addiction is so commonplace these days. The reward center in our brains produces dopamine anytime we obtain something pleasurable. And this neurochemical cocktail of various hormones is creating more and more desire. This is the very nature of karma, the wheel of suffering in samsara that we find ourselves in. Therefore, the way to break this entire repeating loop is a matter of becoming keenly aware of your cravings and your desires. And instead of unconsciously grasping for what you want, instead of forming strategies, manipulating people, getting angry, or coping mechanisms, or various schemes, or any other kind of volitional activity, instead, you learn to choose to do nothing. In the book Tao Te Ching, Lao Tzu writes, "Do you have the patience to wait till your mud settles and the water is clear? Can you remain unmoving till the right action arises of itself? The master doesn't seek fulfillment. Not seeking, not expecting, she is present and can welcome all things." This approach is known in Zen as a kind of doing, not doing. This not doing is not a lazy or slothful inactivity, but rather an attitude of trust, gratitude, and surrender into the great heart. This creates a sphere of abundance within and all around you, a resonant vibrational field that will attract into your life whatever is in your highest good. Consequently, it draws toward you the things and the people, events, and circumstances that are the most satisfying and fulfilling. Now, the trouble is, this is not the standard program of the false AI construct, which has conditioned our intellectual and emotional aspects to crave, to want, and desire an endless pit of meaningless things or status or power. These things and activities that we often pursue really only foster distractions, complications, and karmic shit that tends to make our lives disharmonious and stressful. A true master, a spiritual warrior, chooses instead to hold to the light of his own inner immortal beingness. He does this by a kind of inner standing. His authentic function in this world is to be the light. He seeks to hold to the light and demonstrates to others how to be a clear and unfettered instrument of peace. In this way, the limitless, life-generating universal chi, the biogenic kundalini energy, effortlessly flows through him. So what does this have to do with the practice of meditation? Meditation is really the act of consciously entering into a state of perfection and wholeness. It's not about trying to get something you don't already have within you. This is crucial if you want to transcend the restrictions of the AI control matrix inside the false construct. So whenever you sit down to meditate, do so with the intention of expressing a state that is already whole and complete. It helps to take up a good posture. I've said it before. Is there a place within you that does not change? If so, find it and rest in it. That is the entire spiritual journey. Imagine that you are sitting inside a huge dome, like a planetarium. The structure around you is constantly projecting images, and it hides from you the actual sky outside the dome. Now, every time you sit in a state of perfection, allow yourself to become still and quiet, centered and receptive to the living current of life. You are effectively drilling a hole in the dome, and this allows a tiny bit of the real sky and light outside to be revealed to you. Now, doing this once or twice or even 10 times won't really make much of a difference in your life. Yet if you keep at it consistently, day by day, going through the process of entering receptive silence, drilling hole after hole, over time, you begin to realize that more of the sky is becoming visible to you. The dome is dissolving. This is how the veil of illusion is lifted. Now, what I've learned after over 40 years of practicing various meditation and contemplative prayer methods is that the most effective way to accomplish this is actually three things. Number one, periodically taking a break throughout the day just to consciously breathe. This helps you temporarily shut off the thinking ego chatter. There are dozens of opportunities through the day to do this. You can do it while you're in your car sitting at a red light. You can do it standing in line at the checkout counter. You can do it while you're sitting on the toilet. You can do it while you're walking to the mailbox. Number two, spend quality time in nature as much as possible with the intention of absorbing the living current of life. As you know from my previous work, this is the heart of what I teach. Learning to become aware and sensitive and absorb this free-flowing biogenic energy. And number three, devoting oneself to sitting quietly for a few minutes each day, being alone, and simply allowing the body to be still, unmoving, and relaxed. Now, at first, the mind's going to wander and complain, and your attention may get pulled away into the past or the future. Your thoughts may become agitated or distracted. Yet as you keep returning to your breathing over and over, eventually the mind is going to settle, and it will let go into a state of receptive, expanded silence. This is when you are tapping in to the superior cosmic ocean of thoughts. Thoughts and ideas that have been freed from the terrestrial inferior currents. This is mingling with the mind of the divine. For me, the focus that I find that brings the most benefit is that I allow myself to become aware of the life force as it's passing throughout my body. This kind of attention actually grounds and synchronizes the mind, body, heart into a stable, coherent, and flowing, vibrant field. And it is our natural state. In a previous video called Biogenic Communion, I actually covered this topic in more detail. So you can find a link in the description box and go back and watch it if you've not yet seen it. Remembering to embrace stillness and devoting a little bit of time each day to absorbing the living current of life, these are the important parts along the path of primal conscious living. I encourage you to learn how to fill yourself with the precious biogenic life-sustaining energy that is being emanated from the stars, the sun, and the earth itself. It will cumulatively transform your psychology, your emotional condition, and allow your feet to be planted firmly on the path to the divine nobody. Peace be with you.